All right. So new Conquest feats dropped honestly a lot earlier than I was thinking. And luckily, a good chunk of them are more or less the same. Not honestly as much of the whole what's it called? Um like new faction or let me rephrase. Not much of the newest characters needing to survive. I know I just saw what was it? Brutus just went on to become farmable, but I think you should still be able to get a majority of these feats without issue. That being said, those real funky ones with the bosses, it looks like they've already said that that's because they're doing raid bosses. I think it's the 10-year anniversary around the time when this conquest starts. So since they're gonna start doing the raid bosses, like I think one of them is the B1 battle droids in the AAT. Another one is Phase One Darth Nihilus from this Sith Triumvirate raid. I think there's Rancor in there with one of the T-Bow teams. I forget which sector, but you'll see in a second. All that being said, these were like those old school theory crafted teams, which I imagine most of us at one point in time used before a lot of these other more specialized teams came to play. With all that being said, we should have those characters at least geared because I know that from the get go we were a pretty raid heavy guild. So I don't think the boss feats should be the worst thing in the world. The only trade off I can see is I don't know one if the relic delta shit's gonna happen right when this kicks in, which honestly might throw some things off because I know they described how it's gonna be implemented. I don't know if that's a finalized version, but also I don't know if they've actually said if it's going to go to just PvP or across the board, which might change things. Um, but two, I'll be honest, like case in point, here, like this Tebow team, which I believe was for Rancor back in the day. I absolutely have just completely stripped the mods. Like, there's no more god tier mods, and I would not be remodding them just for Conquest. I would just like if I can't do it, just my base mods, which like are quite shit, like greens and golds. How much he is barely what 100 speed. Tie Fighter probably is pretty good just because of his ship Qui Gon, and he's even got fucking white mods on, and like not the best mod sets. And if I can't get this with the team itself as well as what's it called data discs and maybe a consumable here and there, I honestly might just try to cap a few, but we'll see how things go. It's a week and a half before this thing starts, and I got no idea. With all that being said, I'll start going through the feats and just what teams I'm gonna plan on using. Do keep in mind, I am definitely the one that burned like 110% of my discretionary income on Hondo. So a lot of the pirate feats, I just cheese it with putting Hondo in there with his team. But do recall that we have a fair amount of other characters that are pirates. And to be fair, Maz, who I think a majority of us probably going for and maybe already got as well, she's a damn solid pirate lead. So she can definitely make up some difference. She's not going to be the greatest in the world. And to be fair, part of her kit is adding profit to the enemies at the start, which means they get 50% crit chance and damage. Probably doesn't help, especially if it's overpowered. But all that being said, she might be an alternative to Pirate King Hondo, because obviously Galactic Legends are going to be, running around circles with everybody. Okay, with all that being said, so Sector 1, so stagger feet, I have always been partial to the Imperial Troopers. One, they can run a TM train, especially with the kills. So if you get like Imperial something that you're facing against, like they have the March of the Empire or like the revive mechanic on, you get a couple more kills in there, so they can keep getting a TM train. But Scout and where is he? Stark can do AOE staggers, which helps quite a bit. You could also technically use let me see. It's somewhere here. Not Empire. Here we go. Palps and Mara Jade, just because I want to say it's her second special the AoE that, yeah, that puts staggers around. And then on this one, I used to have a squad. I think I got rid of it because I'm this whole section I only recently started doing just so I don't have to keep making teams again. You could throw in Bad Stilla as well, because with Bad Stilla, she's gonna end up giving you that AoE fear, which once it expires, it turns into staggers. Yeah, when fears expired, it's like blah blah blah, stagger for 2 turns. And with Bad Stilla and Sith Empire, I mean, Sith are honestly gonna be cracked, and it's Sector One, so couple of different options. I have Sith in a couple other spots down below that I may or may not slot them. That's why I try to use Imperial Troopers. It takes less away from everybody else. Win 10 battles with a full squad of tanks. So the easiest one is a Jedi with Master Luke in the lead. Um, Fair amount of good tanks. You got Kenobi passing around the foresight and a mass assist. Windu, the shatter point really does help. Temple Guard, I'm honestly not sure how he's gonna go because I know he's a lot more Jedi Vanguard oriented. But I mean, he has a bit of things here and there, like removing 20% turn meter, the defense down. He might give me some utility. I don't know. And then Obi-Wan Kenobi, this is half and half. One, he's got the AoE ability blocks, which kind of doubles up with Master Luke's. Ideally, if the enemy can't attack with specials, then I can kind of tank a bit more hits. But at the same time, one of the global feats is evading 200 attack, and he does give himself evasion up. It'll probably be minuscule in the grand scheme of things, but if I can double dip wherever I can, I'll take it. I'm not going to complain. Next one is Dark Trooper Moff Gideon. Honestly, this one was just a hodgepodge of whatever the fuck I could find. Uh, I honestly don't even have his Zetas. I'll be quite honest. I don't even think I have any of them actually. No, I don't. I don't have any of them. I don't imagine that this is going to do anything. Um, the only person getting any benefit is Stormtrooper, and to be fair, Moff Gideon is your tank. He's just Gary. Here's the double. Everybody else gets no benefit. They need to be Imperial Remnant, so that's the only way they're going to get anything out of it. Because of that, these guys honestly don't get shit, and honestly, I don't care too much about it. That being said, it's another source of tanks that again pulls from like teams and factions I don't intend on using later, apart from Royal Guard, but you'll see that in a moment. So it's Sector 1, so I'm banking that this should work. There are 3 to 5 relics, so I'm hoping that it shouldn't be a problem, but we'll see. I will most likely probably default to the Jedi Master Luke. 10 battles with Brutus. I already told you guys I'm cheesing it with Pirate King Hondo. You could honestly use not Quiggold, what's his name? Sidon Ethano, or however you say his name. He's honestly still a decent lead, and just slot Brutus in there somewhere. If you throw in kicks, then you get some revive mechanics as well. Or if you have Maz, she's also an option too. Or if you want to go for the normal cheese, Master Luke tank, Brutus in the back, and then just have uh, Jedi Knight Luke Skywalker, a Watt Tambor to pass on the tank tech to Master Luke, something on those lines. We've had a lot of surviving feats. So I don't think I need to explain how we cheese those. And then buff immunity. So I honestly default to Grievous. He actually does pretty well in Conquest, even in later sectors. So to be fair, the one caveat here is he might actually kill the enemies before B2 gets some shots off. So I might honestly take like a mod or two off a couple of these guys so they're slowed down. But B2 will, I mean, I don't think I have to explain it. He's got his second or his only special. Buff immunity AoE, dispels all positive status effects. It has that cooldown chance anytime anyone on his team is attacked. Like, it's just a free amount of buff immunities, so I'm not going to complain. The only trade off to this team, sorry, the only two, apart from one, like I mentioned, they're pretty damn good in Conquest, especially when you get some data disk built up. So they could kill everybody by mistake, and you don't get as many, like you don't get 5 per run. But the other part is that because you're relying on your enemy attacking your characters, you might lose a couple here and there, so you might not get a 3-star right away. Just a risk, like bit of a risky gamble. I'm honestly not sweating it too much. I don't care as much for that part. but just something to keep in the back of your mind that his ability to pass around buff immunities does depend a lot on other people getting attacked. And as a result, with the AI trying to default to killing B1 if Magna doesn't have taunt, because B1 has a 1 HP, B1 tends to die when I do this. And I mean, just later I'll go in with like one of my global feat teams and just clean up everything. So just something to keep in the back of your mind. And then honestly, with the boss teams, it's nothing special. I basically went back through all the very old walkthroughs on these theory crafted teams. I put the exact same teams down. I'm running under the assumption that they're gonna have the raid mechanics, but a muted version of it. I don't know if they'll have reduced percent health damage or something, but I'm assuming it's not going to be like, okay, that phase is specifically like the heroic phase, probably just tuned down to the level of conquest. So ideally, some data disk will help me out, and again, maybe some consumables here or there. This is just because these teams I haven't used in years, so I don't have to go searching for them. Just click, good to go, and just move on with my life. Sector 2. So first one is you got 40 dazes. Luckily, this is in the last conquest, so I just kept the same team. So if you want to go look at my old video for that, in the first one you have Enfys Nest and Dash Rendar pass around AOE dazes. Second one, Captain Rex and Phoenix in general actually does smack pretty high in conquest, especially with Rex in there now. Um, and then your very last one, your 501st plus Rex, Skywalker, his AoE does days, and Captain Rex, like I just talked about. So good amount of AoE days is here because I really just want to get multiple at once instead of doing one at a time. 50 bonus turns. Here we go. So the easiest one is Vader. You know, he gets Merciless Massacre, however many characters you have, however many bonuses he gets. Pretty straightforward, I think. I feel like most of us have done this one in the past in one way or the other. And I think, honestly, I believe I saw it here somewhere. Or maybe I saw bonus. No, yeah, I did. Bonus turns right here. Which, to be fair, now I can kind of retire this guy because I got another one I'm going to show y'all. So the other one is going to be the Gungans. Now, I imagine with Naboo being done, most of us have Gungans. Maybe not Relic 9, but at least Relic, because this is a pretty solid team, and I know we had some pretty strict requirements for the Naboo raid. I think if you got like rank 5, that got you the bare minimum score required for the raid. So I imagine most of us are here. Now that being said, the key to this is going to be Jar Jar, and in particular his Mui Mui I love you. Let me see, it's somewhere. This. I hate reading on here because I can't see it. Ah, here we go. If different enemies take consecutive turns, random Gungan ally gains a bonus turn. So my intention is to use this against a particularly fast team. Usually that ends up being the Ray Jedi training because they just generate turn meter for themselves. But you also have the option of things like your Imperial troopers. You're also going to have the Rebel fighters. They tend to take pretty consistent turns right after each other because like that whatever their modifier is, where they just constantly take turns after critting. Like there's enough factions that are a pain in the ass in Conquest that this can turn that benefit against them, so that you're getting bonus turns here and there. Uh, Between these two, I think I should be okay because Gungans, I believe I only use one more time. Or I'm intending to only use one more time, so we'll see how it goes. Silvo Vane survives. Same deal as Brutus. I'm planning on using Pirate King Hondo, but if you don't have Hondo or don't have Maz or Sidon, Master Luke Skywalker. That's honestly going to be the theme with any of the pirate people survives. If you don't have the 3 pirate leaders, whether it's Hondo, Maz, or Sidon, go to the old fashioned Lord Vader lead with as much offensive disc as possible just to kill everybody first, or go more defensive by using Master Luke Skywalker with Watt or a voluntary Vanguard and just have him hide behind that Master Luke tank. It's honestly, there's like, I think every single sector has at least one of them that's like this. It's honestly the best case scenario. Just one of those 5 options is gonna take care of it. So, um, and then as far as the boss goes, I want to say if we're doing Darth Vader Wampa, this I know there's the data mine. I haven't looked at it yet, but I want to say this would be like the Gamorrean Guard Phase One team, if I remember correctly. This reminds me of the one that I used in the heroic Rancor Raid when we started doing it. So I might be incorrect, but I'm pretty sure that's what we're working on. Sector 3. So first one you got is Disarm. So Disarm was actually already in the previous one. And I had two teams. I had the new Bad Batch with Wrecker, and then the clones have CX2. The clones actually help a little bit more because there's also a kill 35 people with clones. And for that, obviously the disarm and clone kills will kind of double dip. But I put the other clone teams here. Do recall that the fugitive and merc faction of Bad Batch are not clones, even though they're still very much clones. So this one would purely be disarm. I will probably be sticking up here, but in the off chance that maybe the stamina gets too low because I'm using these guys elsewhere, I have a secondary for the disarm faction here. And there's a cheese here. I'll show you in a second. Blind, quick, easy, AoE 3PO and Chewie. Get him, and with trans- translation, ideally you can do it multiple times. Um, More or less straightforward. SM33. This one is, I mean, again, same. Use one of the three pirate leads, Vader, Luke. You'll get a survival somewhere. Though SM33, I would hope most of us have ranked up to some extent because I think he was 2 cycles ago. Because Maz just came out, so I believe he was from the previous cycle before that. So I would hope that most of us have him leveled up at this point. Now, the disarm and blind cheese. So if I recall correctly, this one was from, I want to say it's on one of the Datacron nodes. It's the one that has Newt in the lead and Droideka. Or no, wait, that doesn't sound right. I might be mistaken. It's one of the what's it called? It is one of your Datacron nodes. So it's a constant node, so everybody's gonna get it. There's no question about that. You don't need to go searching for it. The thing you're looking for is disarm is CX2 and blind. Here we go. If Omega has evasion up, she inflicts blind. Her empathy first, I believe, is the one that gives it to her. Nope. Maybe adaptive learner. Nope. She gets evasion up somewhere in her kit. I remember that. Oh wait, no, she doesn't do it. He does it. With never tell me the odds. He gives everybody evasion up. So if I remember, if I'm remembering, because this one was one that you need the deployable cooling systems. It just makes it go a bit faster, especially for CX2 for his disarms. You, I wish I remember the third sector faction. I'm like 80% sure that it's a Newt led separatist team, and because of that, there is, I want to say it's Newt, Dooku, Magna, B2, and Droideka. So your goal is basically to first kill B2 and then focus down Dooku. And that's where CLS Chewie Han come in. They're really more the offensive powerhouse side of things in the very beginning. And once Droideka gets into that damage immunity mode, you want to hit him once with Chewbacca, or he's going to be guarding if your character's geared up properly. He'll guard Han and Luke. You want Chewbacca to hit Droideka with the basic to put tenacity down. Then the first three characters are now doing turn meter control, and now your last two are actually just building up your disarm and blinds. Because the problem with disarm is, I think he gets it every 3 turns, 4 turns, 3 turns here, and then Wrecker, I believe, gets it every 3 turns as well. So you're probably gonna get one or two. Granted, you only need 15, so it's not crazy. But if you can speed things up to be more efficient, you might as well do that. So it's a little bit of a wonky one, and I believe there's a couple videos out about this one already from like a Bit Dynasty Scribe. I want to say Arnold threw one out too, but it's one of the few options I'm considering on doing. So, um, and then the last one, Boss. I honestly do not recall this team at all about Chief Chirpa, but honestly, the only raid I ever recall using Ewoks in was the AAT raid. So I'd imagine this is something related to the AAT, because this one almost looks like where you had the AAT in the middle on like the 6-7 battle droids. and you'd shock them all. That way, Palpatine just constantly got turns on the tank itself. Or no, there's a B2 rocket droid in the middle, if I remember correctly. And you'd like shock all the mob droids, so that way there's like 6 shocks out. He would get 90% turn meter, and then you just focused on the B2 battle droid in the middle. And I think like Chief Chirpa, you were after uh something like here. Ewoks gain 20%, deal 10% from the base attack. Oh, yeah, because if you get 20% turn meter or 15% from 6, you're now getting 90 plus 10 more turn meter because of his lead. And so Palps basically just ran a TM train on everybody. And I think in the raid, there was some mechanic that prevented you from fully getting 100%. So something to that effect. But I may be mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong. And again, I'll see if I can find the data mine later. Sector 4. So start with the one that's straight up quick old surviving, just same old shit that we always talked about. Cool, move on. Evasion up. So Kix actually has evasion up. I believe it's in his unique. He like gives it to people who are not 100% health whenever they start their turn. It's at the start of his turn, and if honestly, if you're killing them fast enough, you shouldn't have that problem. But this is also Sector 4 when typically the difficulty gets tuned up a tad. So you might end up getting it here and there. So I put the team in here. Will I do something? I don't fucking know. But if I do, great. If not, I got a couple other teams I can work on. The one that I think might be more accessible to everybody is going to be this Rebel Fighters team. Anytime Biggs gets that critical hit, or sorry, damage from Empire, or critical hit from enemy, he gets evasion up, no questions asked. If you end up finding like an Empire team, ideally not a Thrawn lead, because those ones are a bitch and a half to fight, you could probably get away with just like having him spam evasion up. It's only going to be one at a time, but usually if you have like a shore trooper and Biggs, they counter off each other just like constantly because of Biggs countering from the lead and then short trooper countering because of Veers' lead or some unique effect somewhere in there. And they just go back and forth until someone eventually loses. And so you could build them up pretty good, but that does require a specific team comp to work. The one I would honestly say is better is your Bad Batch, your old Bad Batch, because Hunter's that AoE where he rolls and puts the knife up, that one gives evasion up to everybody. And then if you have that, you're going to get translation up pretty quick, and you can probably just start spamming it later. So I think that would be a little bit easier. Um, the 10 battles, no tanks. The easiest one is Luke Skywalker. Pretty powerhouse team. Turn meter control, stuns, debuffs. I think they can more or less take care of everything. But another one, which I'm pretty sure most of us should have, because one, Sith Eternal Emperor is one of the easiest GLs to get. And Bane, I feel like most of us at this point should have him relicked. I think we all understand how important this guy is. This is a 2-man team, and technically, for all intents, there is no tank in here. So it doesn't specify the team needs to be full. I would imagine this one would count, but I will probably like try this the very first day I get to Sector 4 and just see how it goes. If it counts it, great. If not, whatever, I'll move on with my life. And then lastly, DOTs. I used to do like a Darth Vader with a bunch of Empire, Wampa, yada yada. The same kind of team like here, where I just could stack DOTs. Honestly, the new Dark Side clones, they add damage over time to Scorch and Clone Trooper. Appo will add them too. Lord Vader, obviously, that's whole part of his kit. I feel like there's enough DOTs around. You can get this with just the clones team now. So that's all I'm sticking to. And then this is gonna be your 2 boss feats. I'll be honest, I know it's a Princess Leia team and Finn. This reminds me of a heroic AAT team, but I just don't know which phase. At this, I genuinely do not remember this one. Because phase 1, I remember always using Dacha and Han and Luke. I can't recall if this was something that was important to that team, but hey, if it is, fantastic. It's here now. If it wasn't, my bad. It's been a couple years, and we've really been moving forward as a guild raid wise. So second to last, Sector 5. So first one, CX2 lives. This one's a little better. It's not pirate wins. So, and I feel like CX2 most of us have to some capacity. So I think you guys should be able to do this one. Maybe not with the Lord Vader, but just with clones in general. So I'll leave it at that. Pirate wins is pirate wins. I put the two optimal teams here. This is the best Hondo team that can be made, and the best Maz team that can be made. That being said, if you don't have Hondo, you can slot some characters in here. You should still keep these three: Kix, Quiggle, and Ithano. But if you want to slot in like SM33 or Brutus, I would do that. I wouldn't slot in Vayne just because Quiggle is a pretty damn good tank. Just leave him be. I would say leave him as the only tank and have some other characters in here to help out. Silvo actually does pretty well because of the turn meter removal from this ability. Pretty good overall. Tenacity down. So Luke Skywalker's team does it great. Chewbacca gets it on his basic, and if you have guard up, he's going to be constantly assisting anyway. Only trade off to it, if you kill the team too fast, you don't get too many. So I tend to go to the Great Mother's team. The Death Trooper Peridia, he has AoE tenacity downs, and the cooldown on it's not terrible in the sense that now this is Sector 5, it's going to take some time to kill the enemies. Uh, with Luke Skywalker's team, the main issue is Chewbacca's like max health damage whenever he like does his attacks. So he kind of shreds through the enemies. But these guys don't have that. Sure, you got the doomed debuff from Great Mothers, which kind of speeds up their kill time, but not so much that you might not be able to pop off at least two or three of the AoEs from Death Trooper. So you probably are going to get some benefit out of it. Defense down, my two are going to be the droids with the Lobot and Gungans again. So Gungans, I want to say it's this one from Boss Nass. Yeah. His like where he dispels everything, he inflicts defense down. I am like 90% certain somewhere in these four kits there is another defense down. I was just too lazy to go looking for it. But if not, that's fine. Gungans, they're still very good overall. And then with the droid team, you actually get two sources, maybe three. I don't know if his, yeah, he doesn't do it. So Sortie, her Sabak Shuffle, you inflict damage three times and defense down on all enemies, which is great. But the one that really matters here is the basic from Lobot. He gets defense down every time. And the benefit to him is that he got that retouch a while back where it's like he gets the droid tag. And so he does get to help out just a bit more. And if you have target lock, which is what droids are all about, then he gets to assist in there. So I'll be quite honest, I probably should throw in like an IG-88 here somewhere just to add more target locks so Lobot assist. I honestly just like keeping light side droids together because it's just more pleasing for my eyes. But we'll see what happens. Uh, And then there's a lot of boss feats for this one. There's your Asajj Ventress and General Hux. I believe this team here is the um crap. What am I saying? It's the very last phase of the Sith Triumvirate raid, but specifically you would use this one to kill Nihilus first, because that was the whole deal in that last phase was you had all three of the Sith and you killed Nihilus first, then Scion, and then you would focus on Treya. And I believe these were the two that like just shredded Nihilus to death. Because you had the revive mechanic here, and then with this mini boss team, I forgot the fifth character. I gotta look through the videos again, but you would basically just be able to kill everybody, or you would be able to kill Nihilus, and then SLKR can't get killed by the insta. So he would just basically tank the hits over and over again. This boss one, though, I believe this one is the Rancor, because Aura Singh had that topple ability added, which the only boss you could ever topple apart from Nihilus was Rancor. Oh, wait, sorry, no, flip that in my head. My mistake. This was for Nihilus. This Sharut and Pal, offense up, dispelled you. He put Death Mark on Nihilus to hopefully speed up your damage, and then these guys were just playing off that Death Mark. And then, if I remember correctly, I used this team barely whenever the raid was even active. Actually, wait, no, this team doesn't even look. I think Aura Singh's the only part I remember about this team. I think I just had random ass bounty hunters because I would kill the two side ads that Nihilus always spawned, the Marauder and the Assassin. And when he was toppled, I would just pop off with the expertise because they just updated this one today. Um, where yeah, now if all allies are non-galactic Legend bounty hunters, you deal 200% more damage to stun targets. You couldn't stun him, but back then it specifically right here was toppled, which now they added the whole you uh, reset the cooldown ability. All right. And then the last one is globals. So give me 1 second. I just got to turn the fan off here. So for global feats, they're, I mean, more or less the same as what we have seen in the past. That being said, a couple small changes which do make things a little bit tougher, but other changes, not so much. So the clone feat, we used to have win with 3 clones surviving. It's officially 4. So we really don't have a choice now. Um, yeah, sorry about that. Um, that being said, the biggest thing is it's the 4 dark side clones and whomever else you want, and I don't believe they have to survive. You just have to win. So SLKR could be chucked in the lead because usually he solos a bunch of teams in Sector One, and you could probably just get away with it from that. And I'll be honest, it'd be okay. Um, Evasion wise, we've actually had this whole evade attacks in battles you won, but usually it's been lower than like 40. But at the same time, they're always limited to one sector. So honestly, them bumping it up to 200 for a global across 5 sectors, I think is okay. I am mathematically, it makes sense to me, so I'm not going to complain. Uh, Usually with evasion, I will honestly use this first team. I can't remember where in the kit it is, but like I believe it's Ray's ultimate or something. She basically builds up the mastery for the characters, and as a result, actually, is it this one? 25 L. Da, 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 da. I can't remember where it is. There's a part in here. Oh, inspired. Here we go. When it its bonus turn meter, inspired allies gain 5%. Okay. You're inspired to show inspired to healthy slides. That's where it is. Because Rage Jedi Training, who I, for to God, hope most of us, if not all of us, should have Relic by this point. She's one of the legacy characters. She gain. Here it goes. Dodge chance. So she just at some point will go absolutely insane and dodge everything. So you never have to worry about getting hit again. But until that point, Yodas are here to pass around foresights. That way you can kind of capitalize on those. Evasion down. This one I have Master Luke and Luke Skywalker. So wait, Luke Skywalker. Oh, you know what? Oh no, yes, I know. 3PO Chewie. That's why. His basic. He assists everybody, so a little bit faster than just with Chewbacca, but we shall see how it goes. It's only 80 of them, which honestly is not terrible. I think that's fine. And then Master Luke Skywalker, I've used this one in the past. I think most people should know about this one. Obi-Wan on his basic, he puts an evasion down. That being said, I relicked up Bodhi for the Rogue One ship, and I never touched this guy in my life. That's what she said, but I never did. He also inflicts evasion down. So maybe just get some double teams in there. They're both basic, so I imagine I'd probably only use one of them, but you never know. A little extra never hurts. Galactic Republics, just honestly, 3 old solid teams. Cadme team always slaps. Master Kenobi can probably like, survive up to Sector 5, no problem. And then the Vanguards, they're honestly not bad once you kind of figure out the optimal team. Quite honestly, you don't need Jocasta New on this team. You could get away with something like uh, Shock T thrown on here. Because that way, what you could do is if you put Shock T, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And these 5 are your very solid team. And I don't know if we have Zealous Ambition this time around, but support, tank, so, fortified or something. But these 2 guys do a lot of the heavy lifting. The rest of them are just more supportive characters to amplify these 2 guys' damage. That being said, I have other ones that are Galactic Republic, so I was like, I'll just search to cast a new one here. It already amps up a real souped up team anyway. Whatever. Um, 200 attacks we talked about, 100 profits. So obviously pirates are all built around profit. Easiest one you can get, 100%, no questions asked. And quite honestly, I have not checked on one thing. Uh, what about okay? So he does have a, albeit slower, profit generation area. But all that being said, technically, even before pirates existed, you had the original bastard who would generate profit, which was Newt. Um, the only thing I don't know for him though, so when he gets profit or when he generates profit for the team, he gives it to everybody because everybody has to get rid of the extortion debuff. With that being said, I don't recall if, let's say, okay, everybody gets five. Let's say you throw in Geonosian Broods, that way you get six characters you can get profit. Five people use extortion, that's 30 profits. Fantastic. I don't recall if they keep using extortion, if it's going to count because your max is set at five. With all the pirates, yes, their max is at five, but they have different criteria where the cap is released. So, like, when I'm doing the raid, I get Pirate King Hondo to almost like 87 stacks. So he's one shotting all the clones every time. Maz Cantina, I believe she has it where if there's no Galactic Legends, she also hits a cap removed. Like, there's parts in the pirate faction where they take off those caps on the profit, and therefore, they can obviously maybe just get in one run. With Newt, though, I don't know if this cap means that they physically cannot get more, but if a team, like if the enemy uses extortion and it's supposed to generate you a profit, like status effect, if it's going to count towards the feat. That being said, it's a global one, so it's not like you should be getting in one battle, but just something to keep in the back of your mind. If you don't have your pirates, your separatist faction, I'm sure there's enough stragglers in here outside of the droids I've already picked up. Like, you could do what? Trench, Dooku, Newt, Watt, and just throwing Brood Alpha or Django if you want. There's your other team. And then I think even Trench makes work off of extortion and profit. So you get a little bit of extra benefit out of it, Like, there's lots of other things you can work with in that separatist faction to get you your profits by the end of the 2 weeks. So I wouldn't be too stressed out about it. And then yeah, and then my last ones are quote unquote cheat codes. These are like all the teams that usually have some, like, they're just one shots almost always. So I normally don't put like the newer ones up here. So like Glat, the only reason she's up here is because not much has been done with her. Um, but like these are the, if I can't cover or can't beat a team in like one go, I just come to my global, go to this cheat code, and just slap on a team and get it over with. Um, so yeah, all that being said, I think overall this is a fairly good conquest feat. Um, there's a lot of survive with the new characters, but luckily, or sorry, win with the characters surviving. Luckily, we've had a lot of those. What's it called? Like win with X characters surviving. We've all had ways to circumvent that, and those, again, those boss feats and mini boss feats, it looks like they're going to be raid tuned, so hopefully they account for that. It's a conquest to make them a little easier to fight. With all that being said, the only like part of this that makes me a little bit worried is I'm not sure if Relic Delta will be kicked in right before it starts, because if it does, that does change how difficult this may become. Because I don't know if Relic Delta is going to go on the PvE side, and if it doesn't, that's great. Then we can all work with it. But if it does, all of a sudden now those Relic 3 teams were hard counters to previous factions might just go down the shitter. And honestly, we don't know what their deal is because it sounds like there's still internal testing. May or may not be the case. May be finalized because now they're like, fuck it, we want to just get money. I'm not sure which way they're going to go. But Honestly, only time's gonna tell, and we will find out at the end of or at the start of the week after next about what the deal is gonna be. But hopefully this helps. Hopefully you guys get a couple weeks to maybe get some gear, maybe relic and gear up some tunes. That way you guys have a little easier time. But if you guys ever need help, don't forget you can always PM me on the Discord, and let's see if many, if not all of us, can try getting the stranger. Catch you guys later.